so good to be here. Today I'm going to be teaching you to prep like a pro. And hopefully you have downloaded this 22-page document I made especially for you guys, because then you can follow along with it. So let's get started. So when we want to make a whole bunch of food for the week and we don't want to be cooking every single night, the idea is that we do some prep. And the idea behind prep is that it just makes life so much easier throughout the rest of the week. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start off with our veggies. So here I've got a whole bunch of veggies. I've already cut them up. So that's the first thing you're going to do. You're going to cut them up into the shapes and sizes that you want for your meals that week. Now you can cut up fresh whole foods, and that is the cheapest, most economical, most budget-friendly way to do it. Or you can just choose to buy them pre-cut, like these ones. I bought these pre-cut in Costco, and that just saves you a lot of time and effort. It just depends. Are you interested in budget, or are you interested in saving time? So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do our beans and legumes. The cheapest way to do beans and legumes is to buy them like this in a bag. Of course, then you've got to boil them and cook them, and that can take some time. You might have to soak them overnight. That's the most economical way of doing it. Or you can just buy them in a can. It's up to you. What I do is I buy them dry and then I cook them. So I keep my rice here in little glass jars. I cook them. I put some of them in glass jars in the fridge to use now. And then the rest of them I put in Ziploc bags and I freeze them. So once this jar is empty, then I can have some frozen ones. It's just like having cans on hand, but it's a lot cheaper. And I've done the same here with my wheat berries. And that's a really, really easy way to get your beans and legumes done for the week. So the next thing that we're going to do is potatoes. Now, I love potatoes. Potatoes go in pretty much any kind of food, any kind of meal that you want to eat. They're so versatile. They're high in starch. They're high in vitamins and minerals and high in complex carbohydrates. They are so good for you. Now, what I've got here, I'm going to show you, is I've got some sweet potatoes. And what I've done is I've cut them in half like this, and I've put them face down in half on a tray, and then I've pricked them. With the white potatoes, I've left them whole. And what happens is you cook them, chuck them in the oven, and then they end up like this. And then you can use them as a base for your chili. You can put them in one of my cheese sauces, uses sweet potatoes, or you can just use them as snacks. I love potatoes as a snack. And the other thing that I did was I got a whole bag of little tiny weeny baby potatoes, and I just boiled those and stuck them in the fridge. This is Pyrex. You can put them in anything you like. Put them in the fridge, and then anytime you want a snack, or you can add them to a salad, you can add them to a soup, you can add them to whatever your dinner you're doing for the night, and then those potatoes are done as well. The next thing you're going to make is you're going to make yourself a salad. And the reason why you're going to make yourself a salad is because you can add salad to anything. Any meal that you have, you can start off with a salad, and that's going to increase your fiber. And the most beneficial part of human health is having a really healthy gut microbiome. So increasing your amount of fiber is really, really important. So let me show you how I make my salad. First of all, I get a bunch of spring mix or anything like that. You notice it's organic. Look, I know organic's more expensive. When it comes to leaves, it's really important to get the organic ones, because pesticides, they stay on leaves. There's a lot of things that I would not bother to buy organic. Things with skins like oranges and bananas and pomegranates and lemons and things like that with skins on them. Don't bother buying them organic. Save your money. But when it comes to things that you're going to eat straight as they are, like leaves and herbs and kale and things like that, please buy the organic one. Okay, back to our salad. We're going to put the leaves in first. Then I've got some radish. Chuck them in, just like that. I've got some cilantro. Look, the rule is you put in whatever you want. If you don't like cilantro, don't put cilantro in. I've got some green onions. Chuck them in. I've got some lovely green peas. What are these called? Snow peas. I also like snap peas. Snap peas are pretty cool. And I do have some red bell pepper, but I'm not putting the red bell pepper in because red bell pepper is wet. And what you want to do is you want to make your salad as dry as possible. And I've got some little cheetah carrots. I could have grated those carrots myself, but I was a little bit lazy, so I didn't bother. And then look, washed hands. I'm just going to get that salad like this, and then it's good to go. And what I'll do is I will put this salad in a Ziploc bag in the fridge. Anytime I want a salad, I can pull this out, and then I'm going to top it with all the wet things. So, for example, I'm going to top it with my tomatoes, my cucumbers, my jicama, my red bell peppers, anything that's wet, then that goes on top of the salad. But then once you've made that salad, that'll stay fresh in the fridge for around about a week unless you eat it before then. So I'm going to show you how to make marinated tofu. And this is what it looks like. I've made this last couple of days ago and I've eaten it. And I put it in my air fryer. If you don't have an air fryer, that's okay. You can put it in a normal oven. And if you don't have an oven or a toaster oven, that's okay too. You can actually eat this raw because tofu is already cooked. So we start off with very extra firm tofu. Look, always buy the organic tofu. And then what I've done here is I've cut it up into little squares. And then you'll find the recipe in your document. So I've already made the sauce. All I'm going to do is pour it over. It's not a sauce, it's a marinade. Pour it over the tofu like that. Leave it for an hour or so, and maybe even overnight if you like. And then you're going to pick those pieces of tofu out and put them on a baking sheet and bake them. Now, again, as I said, if you don't have an oven, that's all right. You can just eat those tofus raw. It's not a problem because tofu is already cooked. So the next thing in our document is sauces. I have made two sauces. This one is a green goddess dressing, and this one is a red sauce. Now, green goddess dressing is great because it's good on top of your salads. It's quite creamy. It's got lots of protein in it because it's got edamame and green peas in it. Plus, you can also put it on things like you can use it as a dip for your tofu. You can put it on your baked potatoes. It's fantastic. Red sauce, everybody has to have red sauce. This is basically marinara, but don't buy it in a jar. Make it at home. It's really easy to make. And then you can use it as a base for your chili. You can use it as a base for your spaghetti sauce. You can do so many things with the red sauce. It's not funny. Okay, the next session in our Prep Like a Pro is we're going to make some veggie meat. So let me show you what veggie meat looks like. Look at that. It looks like mincemeat, doesn't it? It's fantastic. It's made out of a thing called tempeh. And this is tempeh. It's pressed soybeans and they're fermented. And what I've done is I have grated them. So it's all nice and soft. So you're going to come over with me to the stove and we're going to make some veggie meat. And the reason why we're making veggie meat is because animal products have a lot of stuff in them that is not too good for you. Things like saturated fat, cholesterol, and we want to minimize our amount of saturated fat and cholesterol. Animal proteins also come with stress hormones and veterinary medicines and other things that we don't really want in our body. So we're going to make our veggie meat, and we use this for things like tacos and burritos and bowls and lasagna. Everything you can use, you can make this veggie meat for. So we're going to make it over here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get some stock or water. It's up to you. We don't use oil because you don't need those extra calories. You can just use stock instead of oil. And then what we're going to do is we are going to add some red onions into there like that. And we're just going to cook them down for a second. We're also going to add some mushrooms in there. And I've cut these up. Remember, we cut them in the beginning, so they're all ready to go. So this is why this type of cooking is so good, because you don't have to go, oh, I don't have anything to put in my tacos, I've got to make it, etc. You're just going to do that. And then you're going to put in your tempeh, and you're just going to mix it around and cook it down. And then you just add your herbs and spices. Oh, garlic, always. I love garlic. Of course, if you don't like garlic, you don't have to put garlic in. I'm going to make this very Mexican, so I'm going to put some menudo spice in. Be very generous with your spice. And it's just a case of stirring it around, because you know what? Tempeh is pre-cooked as well. So and I'm going to put some chili lime seasoning in. In it goes. And then to make this very savoury, there's two specialist ingredients that, look, I know we want to use the ingredients that are easy to get in the supermarket. This is a specialist ingredient. It's called liquid smoke. It's not expensive. You only use 2 or 3 drops. It gives it that really meaty, smoky flavour. And that will last you like 2 years, seriously. And then the other thing is Worcestershire sauce. This one hasn't got any anchovies in it. I don't eat anchovies, so we don't get the one with the anchovies in it. And then you just stir it around like that, and that will cook down, and then that's your veggie meat done. And as I mentioned before, we can put that in our tacos and our burritos and things like that. So that's your veggie meat done. So just think about what we've done already. We've done veggies, we've done whole grains, we've done legumes, we've done potatoes, we've done salads, we've done sauces and dressings, we've done marinated tofu, and we've done veggie meat. So if you do all those things, you're pretty much set up for the week. You can make millions of different meals just using those things. But now we're getting to breakfast. So let's have a look here. I got some yummy things. These are overnight oats. Now I've put mine in glass. You don't have to put yours in glass, so you can put them in plastic. What I've done is I've got here some oatmeal, and then I've added to the oatmeal some chia seed, and I've also added a little bit of flax meal. Now, flax meal comes from flax seeds, and I don't buy the flax meal from the supermarket because flax loses its potency. The thing about flax is it goes rancid very, very quickly. So you want to keep it in the freezer all the time or the fridge. So what I do is I buy flax seeds, I blend them, and then I just keep this much in the fridge, and the other things I keep in the freezer. So what we do is we've added that, and then we're going to just add some soy milk. This soy milk is my favorite brand because it's got no added sugar, and it's only $2.29 a litre or a quart. So that is awesome. And then what you do is you just add a little bit of soy milk to it. And then for me, this one, I'm going to add some applesauce to make it nice and sweet. In it goes. You don't have to add the whole packet. You could probably add half a packet. And then I've got some apple pie spice. You can use cinnamon, nutmeg, and then you just stir this little guy up and stick him in the fridge, and then he's good for you for tomorrow. And you can add anything inside the document. I've got tons of different options for making overnight oats. You can have carrot cake overnight oats. You can have raspberry vanilla overnight oats. My favorite is Chunky Monkey, which is chocolate and peanut butter. Okay, this is tofu scramble. It is so very easy to make. Basically what you do is you do the same method that we did with the veggie meat over there. So we're going to add our onions and our garlic and our herbs and our spices. We've also got some extra veggies in here. It's very easy to do exactly the same way we made the tempeh over there. I want to thank everybody for coming today. It was so fast, And we learned how to prep a whole week's worth of lunches and dinners and brekkies in 30 minutes. I mean, it's going to probably take you between 90 minutes and 2 hours to do, but if you do this every week, you are guaranteed to eat healthy throughout the week. So I want to say thank you, Contra Costa Health, for having me today. And I want you all to go out there, start prepping your food, and live a fantastic, healthy, vibrant life.